go, grab the camo, and make his way on over towards the red base. It's really about controlling the important areas. Stronghold's a little bit different though. You're going to see a lot of action on this map.
Yeah, we're looking over at Camo, looking over at Overshield. Gonna see which of these players go for which power-ups. I'm gonna kick this off with Nemesis, who's clearly going for this Camo, but obviously prioritizing this top bridge.
3 people.
That was a rough start, and that's the kind of start that a squad like Wise Gaming needs. Look at that, 3 down. They're getting control Catwalk, which is the toughest stronghold to keep control of, or I would say to regain control of, and now going for Nest to get 2 strongholds.
Yeah, that's actually a really nice open strat, but if they're not able to take Red Nest, it's going to not be solid for them. There they are. They do get Red Nest, so that's big, Dave. They do lose the Catwalk. Contra was able to get the Overshield throughout all that, but they spawn outside and they don't watch that. Now they're all stuck outside. They're going to have to trade either Catwalk and Red Nest for Blue Bend. Maybe actually both. This is a good opportunity. If you get the kills, you could potentially triple cap off this if you are Wise, but that's a huge kill from Tizoxic.
One thing I really want to point out is that movement by Tizoxic. Just realizing as soon as he has the upper edge in that fight, he does not care how exposed he is. He doesn't care if he jumps out in the middle of blue base like that. He's just moving forward, closing that gap, and making sure that player cannot evade, cannot get away. And he obviously was also avoiding that grenade.
3 dead right there, or triple cap coming in, 2 dead. That's going to be 3 dead. Contra now the last guy alive. Demon D going on a spree. He picked up the rockets, he got a double kill, back-to-back double kills, currently on a killing spree. Love this play from Tizoxic. All he has to do is slow play this, sit in the back, wait for them to come over towards that red bridge or red security area. He may get a little bit worried because there's tons of call-outs happening outside, but this is great for him not to react to that and just stay still here, waiting for players to go into the strongholds. There's an easy back whack on if he wants it. Needed to kill that player before his teammate dropped, and I don't know. I felt like he should have took that kill a little earlier.
Yeah, a bit of misexecution there from Tizoxic.
Or a Spartan charge would have been nice there,
yeah,
too.
absolutely. Like
he stopped sprinting while he was still on radar.
Yeah, at some point you just got to commit. If you've already kind of given up your positioning, or there's a chance you give up your positioning, just start shooting. Just start to go for that Spartan charge like you talked about, Tom.
What a job by Cloud right there. Oh my goodness. That's going to be 3 dead, destroyed the last guy. And, you know, that's what I'm kind of talking about here, Dave. This is a fantastic way to start this. Cloud, Demon D, Tizoxic, they have the skill to take these guys down. If this was a Halo 3 match, if this was a Halo 2 match, if this was maybe even a potential Reach match, maybe Rhinoop is pretty good at Reach. I don't know, but if we're going back and talking about the level of competition that these guys have played at, these guys have played at a national championship level. These guys on the other side have only competed in Legendary Cups, potentially trying to make their way as pro Halo 5 players.
Yeah, and I love seeing Tizoxic and how he's fitting on this roster, because after watching Tizoxic since the very beginning of Halo 5, I was like, he has the skill. He clearly has the skill. I've never teamed with Tizoxic, so I'm not sure if there's other factors that go into play, like whether it's his communication, teamwork, awareness, whatever it happens to be. But anytime I'm individually watching his screen,
what a contest.
He is just such a strong player.
What a contest and what a reset. I agree with everything that you're saying, Dave. His shot's always on point. I'd say the only downplay about Tizoxic's gameplay would probably be maybe his objective work. I feel like he's not someone that is going to constantly having that objective in mind. He's also a little bit passive, but either way, he still has a very strong playstyle and a very unique playstyle, and it's up to other people to kind of work with that. Ryan flying in with the triple kill. That's going to be 2 from grenades.
I tried to switch over Ryan Noob and I choked. I am sorry, folks.
A little too slow there, Dave. A little too slow, but here's Auction Supremacy getting back into it. 64-11 here. And you're going to have rockets in the hands of Destroyed. Only 1 left, so he's going to try to maybe use this to... Nice little grenade there on a Nebula. Maybe he should use these rockets to secure the next rockets and the Overshield. That'd be huge. That's exactly what he's doing, but wow, Tizoxic just gave him the business with the back smack right there. Contra, not really sure what he's looking at. Can he get a melee off right here? No, he can't. Demon D laying the beat down there. Ryan fighting him on over towards the blue sneaky side. There's rockets going on over to Auction Supremacy. They're going to have 3 outside, making their way over towards mid-bridge. Ooh, Nemesis coming in with the flank. That's clutch. He was hiding out in security the entire time, and now 4 dead. That's the worst time to go all 4 dead, Dave. Fortunately, they are capping some points right there, but they're going to give up Overshield, Camo, and rockets.
Now, one thing I want to show the difference is right now we saw how Auction Supremacy, they had all 4 down. They force spawn over towards Blue Closet. However, when a player like Nemesis is sitting over here in security, he's not being passive like Tizoxic was. Instead, he's trying to poke out a little bit further, maybe put shots. Instead of trying to go for a absolute individual play, he realizes his teammates are out there and he can help them in this situation. So maybe that was a slight difference between his play and Toxic's play earlier. But oh my God, Demon D just stepping up in those individual fights right now.
This is big right here. Got to get this kill. Got to control blue, capture this bend, and then eventually get control of blue platform. You're going to see a big fight, Dave, going on over towards that area. Ryanoob is going to come in with a grenade. There's blue bend going on over. Catwalk is a good position to hold right now because Contra can just lay down serious fire. So again, the big contestation here is going to be on over towards blue platform. All of the players are going to make their way into the flag here.
This was my biggest concern right here, was you notice how much Wise Gaming committed over towards that blue bend. They committed everything, and in the end, they got it only just for a few moments. In some cases, when you stop the bleeding, you should almost stop right there. It's like, all right, stop the bleeding, take a breather, let your teammates all spawn up, and then make another push. It seemed like Wise Gaming never took that pause. They decided to go for blue bend and just instantly thought that they could press over towards Catwalk or Red Nest, and because of it, they got trip capped on again.
There's the reset coming in. Contra going to get that rocket kill. Now you're seeing control in the hands of Wise Gaming, and you're seeing a little bit of a flaw here in the Wise Gaming strategy. They need to get control, and all of that coming back though to Dave, what you're talking about. They didn't have control. They didn't have rockets. They didn't have camo. They didn't have overshield. Just, again, absolute worst time to go all 4 dead. You couldn't ask anything better from the Auction Supremacy side. Now you're going to see a little bit more of what the Wise Gaming decision-making is actually made of here now that they're forced with a little bit of adversity. That's going to be Cloud picking up the rockets. Maybe he can fly in there, but he doesn't connect on the overshield guy. Does get 2 kills, but that's a huge pickup by Ryanoob.
I love that play by Ryanoob too. Instead of just going straight back towards Cloudy Cloud and contesting with rockets down there, he just fails. He just goes straight for blue bend. He realizes Cloudy's probably going to be panicking down there, probably waiting out, probably overthinking a situation like that. And so Ryanoob was able just to bail out of there, stop trying to be just some sort of hero. Instead, he was making Cloudy Cloud make the plays.
Demon D just bought so much time for his teammates to go on over towards Red Nest. The question is, can his teammates respond with a couple of kills? Cloud gets one, Toxic finds one as well. 3 dead now, Nemesis last guy alive. This is big right there. You got to go and help right here if you're Demon D. And he does eventually get the reset. So not able to save his teammate, but able to get some control here. And I think that's, a decent job by both teams. Actually a great job by both teams, realistically, because at least getting back into it was something that Wise Gaming did now by able to capture true strongholds. But Auction Supremacy kept that triple cap going for quite some time. I think the score was at one point 71-1. And now we have a really, really tight game. So now this is when all the kills really going to matter here. Nemesis finding one. That grenade does not bounce the way that he likes. He would have liked to take that player down to no shields. Now going to have to contest to Zoxic, who weakens him as well. So this is not the fight that Nemesis wanted. And here's a huge potential reset coming in from Cloud. Not able to get the triple kill, but damage done there. Now they're going to have to rotate on over towards that catwalk area because Contra captured it.
And Toxic is in a spot he does not want to be. Cloudy already did the job, did the work over there. He got the kill out of Nest, got the reset, and Toxic is nowhere near to currently help over at Blue Bend. I like this rotation now, though. Him and Demon D pushing over towards Blue Bend. They absolutely need to get control of this stronghold. Even though it's not as good as Catwalk, at this point, it's the end of the game. You need to take whatever strongholds you can get control of.
This is big right here. Toxic, if he picks up this kill, it's going to really open up the map. Contra's going to drop. There's a guy waiting down by the overshield. Is he going to see him behind him? Oh, he does a 360 randomly, and Nemesis doesn't get the back smack. The reset potentially coming in. No, the Ninja comes in. Oh my goodness, are you kidding me? Destroyed with the Ninja onto Demon D at 99, but it doesn't matter. I thought that could have been the game-saving play, but what a game coming in from Wise Gaming to start. From the blue side, 3 going on over towards that catwalk area, just saying, screw it, go pick up the overshield. One of the things that was a little late, Contra was the guy to pick up the overshield there, but he didn't grab the rockets immediately. He went over and captured Blue Bend. What's the point, really? I mean, it's hindsight, but what's the point of necessarily capping Blue Bend when they're going to most likely capture catwalk and red anyway and be getting points on the board? You might as well grab the rockets and then go and contest Red Nest, in my opinion. But either way.
Yeah, I would absolutely prioritize rockets over Blue Bend at the very beginning. But looking at this layout, we have a huge win for Wise Gaming. Getting that first Strongholds win, 100-84 here. That is, if you're looking at these two teams on paper, you look at Wise Gaming as being more of the Slayer squad. Sure, we haven't seen them play nearly as much with like Nebula and seen how he's fitting in. However, at the same time, it looks like he's fitting in very well. That
did a lot of objective right there. So
a lot of OBJ. I would say taking an OBJ game off of Oxygen Supremacy is a huge victory. But on top of that as well, the other thing I noticed is that they got outslayed by 1 kill, I think, when I looked at the stat screen. So
Yeah, that's
going even slash, I would argue that's even in slays and still outworking OBJ against a squad like Oxygen Supremacy, which I consider to be extremely objective efficient. That's a huge win.
yeah, it is. And again, it's just you look at these game types and you say, wow. And you look at these players and you say, wow. You know, Demon D gets the rockets in his hands, knows what to do with them. I mean, I go back and I remember when Halo 3 first came out. And keep in mind, we were always really late. For every Halo that came out, the pros were always a month or two behind because the game would come out
like
and we're still finishing up nationals. And there's like, they got these 3-month jump on us and stuff like that. And we come in and it's like, wow, these pros are washed up. And it's just like, oh, God, we got to start 3 months behind. But one of the guys, honestly, that I actually watched in the beginning of Halo 3 to see what he was doing so differently was Demon D. And you know what he was doing differently? He was just moving faster than other people. You know, he was literally just, you know, making decisions and just saying, hey, I'm gonna go right for the weapons and just use them so effectively. And his routes have always been so great. His awareness has always been so high.
I will take commitment over hesitation any day of the week when it comes to a Halo player. That's so important. Oh my God, Nebula getting a double kill on Contra and Ryan, who at the very start of this game absolutely reading their strategy, their starting strategy.
I love to see that. I love to see teams from Blue Base throwing grenades up towards the stairs, punishing players that go over that. I also love seeing teams punish players that go on over towards the yard. There's really no reason to go on over there. Yeah, you can get the shotgun, but the overshield is such an important part. The snipe is such an important part. Getting control, what's the point? Go over and over the nest, you virtually are giving yourself a 3v4 if they don't allocate any resources over there. So snipe rifle, overshield, and a nice little lead here for Wise Gaming. This is their opportunity, Dave. I'm just waiting to see if they make any major mistakes that allow Oxygen Supremacy to get back into it, because the way that they've opened this game and the way that they won the first game, it's really up to them to close this series out right there. There's the first mistake right there. Cloud just dying for free to the sniper with the sniper rifle, and Destroyed is going to go and get traded out from Nebula, but the damage is kind of done. They lost their setup 2-on-2 right now, but that is not what you want to see coming out from the Wise Gaming setup.
Yeah, that's uncharacteristic of Cloud. It feels like many times he's been known as a player who ends up being too passive or backs down a bit too much when he has a power weapon like that. But Cloud in that situation, I felt he did a very good rotation early on, bringing that sniper all the way over towards glass, towards loop side, and I felt like he did absolutely nothing with the sniper though. So that was quite odd to see that out of Cloud. Let's jump on over to his teammate Tizoxic, see what he's going to do with this weapon, because Cloudy clearly didn't get the work done this last time. Players are allowed mistakes like that, but those ones stick out so much more when a power weapon's on the line.
I'm just not a big fan of sniping at glass. I know all the pro players love bringing the snipe on over here. They feel like it's a safe setup, and that driveway area, you can really punish people that try to flank down there just by watching down low. But you know, it's a decent angle going on over towards the overshield side, but you can just get collapsed on so easily. There's players flying all over from different angles. Nice little move there coming in from Tizoxic to bait and switch with Nebula. 3 dead there, Dave. Right when overshield's coming up. Destroyed getting the kill on the Demon D. I'm not sure if that forced him to burn it, but that could have been a big burn.
Yeah, it could have been a big burn.
What?
And it looks like an uncharacteristic miss once again from Tiz, because
was that
when
a miss, or did I blink and that guy ate that shot?
I don't know. Maybe he did eat the shot. I did not fully see it. We can maybe go to replay later, but whole point being is when you are sniping that glass, that is one of the snipes that you're looking for. Should be one of the easiest snipes. And how are these players not at least checking glass? I mean, that's easy for us to say in our shoes right now, but I feel like as soon as you see a snipe shot come over from glass or loop, that's going to be one of the first spots that you check.
Tizoxic getting pretty nerdy over here. Has a player on over to his right. Needs to get out of scope. There he is, getting out of scope there. I love this rotation.
Great rotation.
Play going towards bottom center. 22-10 here, Dave.
And what Tizoxic also did there during that rotation, he just committed to a side. Sometimes Halo players do this is if, let's say they have an option of going through left side or right side, option A or option B, they will go and just check one of the sides. And if someone doesn't come through there, they can push that side. They know they're safe there. They know that the player's going to be trailing from the other route. So they have, they have the calculations down. They realize, all right, if I rotate this way, it's going to be a few seconds later that this player's lagging behind me. I can go back over and challenge it.
This is so refreshing to see, again, a team of talented players really putting in the work and coming together at the right time. This is the time that you want to go and contest Oxygen Supremacy and make a statement here. Can they close it out? They're halfway there. 25 211, 1 bullet left in this sniper rifle. TaZoxic trying to connect on the no-scope, not able to do so. Nebula has a sniper rifle of his own. Now Demon D is going to try to rotate and get those cleanup kills. This is big. Last overshield Dave was burned right around that 57 mark. Big flank coming in here from Demon D. Love the bottom center flanks coming in from TaZoxic and Demon D. This really smart play coming in from them. Now they're just contesting for the overshield, but they don't have the numbers. Contra going to pick up a kill. That's going to be 3 dead. Last guy alive is going to be TaZoxic. Does he see the guy in front of him? No. What a play from Destroyed.
Great sneaky play from Destroyed, and also you said too, great flank from Demon D. One thing that I think players, when they're starting off in Halo, they make a big mistake is they try to do different flanks through like bottom open routes when it's at a standoff situation. That's the worst time to do those sort of routes because those are the times where players are watching for it. However, as soon as the situation gets chaotic, as soon as people are running around fighting, that's when people don't watch every single angle on the map, and you can actually flank around bombs there like Demon D did.
Great bait and switch and just overall push coming in from Wise Gaming. Now Ryan with the sniper rifle going to try to get these guys back into it. They did get a little bit of control here, so now they can potentially bring this one back. Demon D is going to drop. You can see Ryan, he's on a killing spree right now. 10 kills to make up, and still plenty of positioning on the map. That's going to be a 1v1 right there that Nemesis is going to have to get some help from, but Destroyed comes in with perfect shots onto Cloudy Cloud, and that's going to give these guys numbers to potentially collapse. But Ryan going to sit back, choke spawns on over towards the blue side, and see if any spawners come out over towards the yard. Also, going to watch any players push on over towards the posters. As soon as he gets distracted from a guy top gold, another player going to rotate on over there. And then there goes the spawner. Here's the bait and switch coming in. That guy has the green gun, 3 dead. Nemesis, last guy live. Fortunately, he is on over towards the nest side, but they could collapse on this.
Yeah, so he is in some trouble. We've seen this a couple times from Nemesis. Last game, we saw him kind of hiding in the corner, waiting for that overshield to spawn up on Eden. Now he's just kind of hiding in the corner over at Snipe side, waiting for the weapon to come up and just buying time for his teammates to spawn and give him some support.
Demon D. I've seen him do a couple clutch things. That's a double kill right there coming in for him. But not only that, he was, oh, there's another kill coming in a 2-on-1 situation. That's ridiculous. Rhino going to eventually kill him, but he takes Cloudy to no shield. So great job by him. I also want to point out, on top of the nice flank he had another really, really nice play that opened up the map as Contra picks up the overshield. This is going to be big for Supremacy. But he had a really nice play. Ooh, the green gun comes in. Cloud takes down Contra's overshield. That's another one of those big clutch plays. 10 kills to make up here, but he stopped the setup. And that's another clutch double kill coming in from him as he pushes on over towards the LR.
Yeah, just great plays. And what was most impressive during that time was how these players know how to grab that overshield and just like thrust and do whatever motion is going to throw that player off. They're always going to just thrust in the most opportune direction.
Nebula picking up a wingman. Cloud picks up a kill. TaZoxic finds a double kill. He also has a sniper rifle. TaZoxic finds a triple kill. Nice job, Dave. Find that screen. Gotta know when this guy has a sniper rifle. It's almost the unwritten rule here that we gotta keep it on his screen.
All right, my bad number 2. If the chat is keeping track right now, that is 2 missed triple kills from yours truly.
As long as it's not an overkill, we're good. We're good. So we'll catch the overkill. Here it comes. There's the first kill. Has a player on his radar right behind him. Another one's gonna drop. Contra. They're looking for a steak dinner here, Dave. They're gonna go up 2-0 in this series. No doubt about it. It's just a matter of when they're gonna close this one out. Ripping Nemesis's face off. What was game number 3? It was a strong, it's got to be a CTF here. It was CTF Fathom was game number 3. So going back and looking at Beyond the Sticks land, that was a game that they kind of split with Envy, but it's one of Envy's weaker game types overall. So we'll see. This could be it. I mean, just imagine if they get off to the start that they did like they did in Plaza. This is going to be so hard, but I don't know.
Fathom's one where you can actually slow it down a bit. So here we have like, I would not have expected this, a 2-0 lead here right off the bat for Wise Gaming. Yeah, especially game number 2. Like, I felt like game number 2 and 5, if I was in Wise's shoes or I was a Wise fan, I would say that they have to win those games. Well, I figured they'd be close games, 50-40, 50-45 sort of victories. But look at Demon D going most, and fourth most.
And most.
most, yep.
Most on his team. This is, again, an amazing display of Halo coming out from this Wise Gaming squad. They haven't closed out the series. They haven't closed out the Legendary Cup yet. But if they do, that's going to be, one heck of a day for them because they have it in them. All these other teams, they really have it in them. But to see them apply that here, Halo 5 and Halo in general, it's it is a complicated game, but to these guys, you can really go back to the basics, and it's about getting momentum. It's about closing out games. That's the type of game that if you don't win that game, if you allow them to get back to that, allow them to get back into it right around that mid game, say Tzoxic gets assassinated with the overshield and gets so flustered and so on tilt after that that he's not able to snipe and hit all those shots at the rest of the game, or they get really pumped up on the Auction Supremacy side and bring it back because of that. That game right there was such a big win for them because now they can go in and close this out in game number 3. And if they win this series 3-0, I find it really hard for Auction Supremacy to have the confidence that they can beat these guys again in another series later on today.
Yeah, we haven't seen Auction Supremacy kind of put down in that situation throughout any of these Legendary Cups. They've never had to be the underdogs. They never had to come back. I felt like every single series we see them go in, they start off strong and they finish strong. But we are going to kick it off here. Game number 3, Fathom, capture the flag. Now, I feel like if you're a Wise Gaming fan, you need to see them outslaying pretty heavily. We did see game number 1 where they got by with, getting outslayed by 1 kill and winning that Eden Strongholds game.
But they outslayed the other team by 17, and the one that mattered.
Yes, that is true. But in this case, I feel like Fathom is one where you do need to either significantly outslay or know how to run that objective very well. And I just have a lot of confidence here in Auction Supremacy on this map.
Very aggressive play to start this one. They're trying to immediately get a cap. And Cloud comes in with a huge beatdown right there. And if they're running the flag on the other side, this could be a counter cap because that's one of those instances that play doesn't pay off because Cloud gets that kill. Nebula comes back. And now you give up Railgun on over to Tzoxic. Tzoxic finds a double kill. He finds the triple kill. Dave.
My bad.
Dave,
and he's running the flag.
He's running the flag. Tzoxic saves you once again. But this is, again, the type of start that you need. If you're Wise Gaming, do your homework. Find out what these guys do. Counter it. Punish them. And don't make any mistakes. Halo 5 is a game of mistakes. If you can come in and play it clean, you can predict exactly what's going on. And they're running this one flawlessly right now. Ryan finds a huge double kill right there on the porch. So that's going to slow things down temporarily. Now they need to not desperate this cap because this is definitely gone here.
That was a desperation I've ever seen when you saw Cloudy and 2 other members drop back to back. Now, one thing we've been seeing from Wise is they've been playing well as an entire team. It feels like their strategy is on point. It feels like they are actually like pushing in together. They know when they should be running the flag, pushing in, even though they desperated that last one. But on top of that, they're also executing individually. Like you talked about before, at the very beginning of the game, I was like, oh, this is going to be a pull for Auction Supremacy. And Cloud somehow getting that kill in a 2-on-1 situation is so huge.
Well, think about how he stayed alive on Eden on the blue platform. That's just one of those plays that it's amazing to see because that comes down to communication. It comes down to just playing smart in general and valuing your life. And there's no reason to challenge right there. You can win by just talking to one another. You can win with teamwork. And a lot of teams just force things and overcomplicate things. And it's at a point now where we're so far into Halo 5 that everyone should understand the strategies. It really just comes down to talking to one another and just having a fierce urgency to win. You gotta want it, and you gotta. I guarantee if we were to go into a listen-in right now with the 2 teams, if we could, but the communication from the Wise Gaming squad, they gotta be fired up. They gotta be extremely stoked right now and just on top of everything and moving at a different pace than these guys on the Auction Supremacy side.
That's true. I bet in almost any tournament situation, I feel like I could go to listen-in with either team, and based on their voice and how they're calling out, I could tell you which team was winning.
Yeah, and you could go and look at it as body language as well, which obviously we can't see, but that's another huge thing at the tournament too, seeing like who's kind of down. Not nearly as much as the communication aspect of things, but that's 100%. You don't even have to see the screens, you just gotta listen to the call-outs. Now you're seeing Auction Supremacy get back into this one, and this is key. This is
stalemate situation though.
Yeah, this is one of the key things though, is Destroy's controlling this porch area. Do they spot him? They do. Wow, 2-shot beatdown's gonna connect right there onto Demon D. Demon D did a 2-shot beatdown on his own, but had the pistol. And now you see the rotation. Everyone's over in the silo area. You do have Demon D spawning up, so here's the collapse. Nice grenade coming in from Destroyed. There's Demon D flying in. Nebula eventually going to come in too. Doesn't get the trade. That would have been a very big trade.
Regardless, I felt like Destroyed did more than his part right there. It felt quite odd actually watching that whole situation because
I'm wondering where everyone else is.
Yeah, we saw him get a kill and we saw him fight 2 others at the same time, and there was really no pressure being put on the opposite side of the map. I don't know anyone that was pushing on Toxic that we saw on our player outlines.
Smart play tossing that out to the front.
Yeah, he was eventually taken out, but this is exactly why Toxic tossed it out, because Ryan and friends have to put themselves in such a vulnerable position in order to get that recovery. So
that little play, you know, you see it from his point of view, Dave, and you say he's screwed, right? They're going to get the return. It's all over. Tossing that flag out bottom center, a little play like that, we all know how smart it is because you have to jump on that recovery, but keeping that out in the open made 3 dead from Auction Supremacy side. So we don't know if they're going to be able to get the return quite yet, but there's an actual return coming in for possibly both teams. There's one return coming in from Auction Supremacy. There's the other return. So very rarely do you see that happen. Double return coming in from both teams.
Yeah, in most cases, we end up seeing one recovery and then sometimes a counter run or something along those lines. But that was a crazy stalemate right there. But Wise Gaming got to be okay with that. However, Auction Supremacy kind of showing how they can play as the game draws out a bit longer. Looking like they had a couple flag attempts. Looks like they've been playing very strong.
Yeah, definitely. And they also have the camo right now. I believe Toxic picked that one up. That's a one-shot kill going on over to Demon D. Destroyed answers it right back.
I'm going to find Toxic before I mess this up again. I've already missed 3 triple kills so far this series. And
then you go.
Good thing I got it over there.
That. No, Toxic. That's not how you use the camo right there. Ryanoob now top center. Now, as soon as Ryanoob finds a kill or two, he's going to go in and fly immediately right in. Goes for the ground pound. Oh, man, I thought he was going to get assassinated off of that. That could have been bad, but is going to live just for a little bit, though. Demon D coming in, and that's the thing that I'm seeing from Wise Gaming. They are not letting one-shots get away, and they are communicating on things and shutting these guys down. If you allow Ryanoob to scurry around bottom center, he's eventually going to make his way on over towards your flag, so that's a good shutdown right there. Now Contra gets control of top center. They find 2 kills. It's a good power position to be in, but they need to get inside of the base right now. They're running the flag on over towards the side, but they have players coming in for the flank and overextending. Nemesis does put that cap in, though, so potentially a counter cap coming in here. Ryanoob needs to drop if they want to get this one countered on. Ryanoob flying in, misses the beatdown. The flag does not get pulled, so great job by Auction Supremacy, and Wise Gaming missed a big opportunity to get a counter.
Yeah, big opportunity, but one thing I also noticed when I was watching Contra screen right there is that he looked like semi-panicked compared to any other time I've watched him play. Like, he felt like he got towards top center, he was sprinting around trying to shoot towards a different porch where there was nobody there. He got caught off guard, got picked off top center. Generally, I see Contra as being that player who's just slowly pushing across top center, taking his time, choosing his battles. But right there, it felt like that bit of panic. So I really got to wonder what the comms are like on the Auction Supremacy side.
Yeah, definitely. Now he's top center. Nebula falls back to lay down some more shots. This is smart by Nebula. What he's kind of doing is just anchoring right here, waiting to get any type of angles just like that, right onto Ryanoob. Now they're going to have numbers, and he's going to push up. So that's a great use. Oh, all 4 dead right there, and a potential flag pull coming in. Everyone going to be spawning over towards the elbow, and they're aware of that. They pull it, but they don't pull it quick enough. Toxic is going to drop. Now they're going to have some split spawns on over towards the engine side. So unfortunate that they can't get that pull, and now you can see they're immediately flying in on over there. If Nebula doesn't turn around, that's destroyed, making it into their base for free. So that's a good job. Heads up play coming in from Nebula, and that's what does make Halo 5 hard, is those type of instances in CTFs where you do get all 4 dead, but if you're not on top of the correct spawn, they can kill your flag guy. And once they kill your flag guy, they can sprint on over to your side of the map in 3 seconds.
Yeah, it's always so frustrating when you get an all 4 down situation. As soon as your flag carrier dies, at some point you have to have the discipline just to give up that that flag attempt. Go back towards square number 2 where you're getting map control, and then eventually push in for a new attempt. But that takes a lot of discipline, because almost any single time you get all 4 down, even if one of your members fall down, it's sort of like, well, we still kind of have like a 3-on-1 or a 3-on-2 situation. We can still probably pull this out, but it's usually the wrong move.
Uh-oh, Nebula doesn't realize this, but maybe he does. He sees that the map is open, and he's going to get a pull. Bringing this one past the 50-yard line, tossing it almost all the way back to his base. The problem is Auction Supremacy has a pull of their own. 2 players down, no shields. Toxic, if he tosses a grenade, that would have been huge, but he doesn't, and now the return is going to come in. This flag is being ran by Ryanoob. I find it hard to believe if they don't cap this one. You do have a nice angle being taken by Nebula. Contra coming in with the cleanup. Destroyed going to find one as well. Demon D flying in for the return, but that's not going to happen. Toxic with a great grenade, but I don't think it's going to happen. That flag is going to go in. Toxic going to toss this one off, and now Auction Supremacy looking to get the 3rd and final cap of this game to elongate this series. Are they starting to wake up, Dave? It looks like they are.
They are. It feels like the longer each individual game goes, they do a little bit better. Obviously, Plaza Slayer was a bit different than that, because it felt like Wise Game kind of just had control the entire time. But step up game number 1, they started off to a 71 to 1 deficit.
Yeah.
And in this game, they were down to a 1-0 flag deficit within the first 30 to 60 seconds. So it feels like the longer the game goes on, the more they're able to kind of feel out how Wise Gaming are playing or get their comfort zone.
Keep in mind, though, even though the score is 2-1, Wise Gaming has had 3 really good flag runs. One got all the way back to their base in that double return for the standoff. One should have been a for sure cap when they were running that one, and the other they had all 4 dead. And then even that last run right there. So even though, you know, I think maybe 4 flag runs have been stopped and returned by Oxygen Supremacy, they have done a fairly good job. But all in all, it doesn't really matter because Contra is going to be pulling this flag, and if they cannot get this one returned, it is going to be win on over to Oxygen Supremacy, and that is what it looks like. 3-1 in that game right there. We got ourselves a series, folks. Now moving to game number 4, which I believe it's Stronghold's Rig.
That sounds correct. I believe it is Stronghold's Rig. This is a semi-scary situation here for Wise.
See the stats.
Let's go back to stats. How did I mess that up?
Let's see the stats.
There we go. Jumping back over to stats, but we did see Contra throwing up some big numbers, 20 and 12. Even despite having a couple of times where I felt like he looked a little uncomfortable, he still was putting up huge numbers.
Yeah, they got outslayed by 4 on the side of Wise Gaming, so it's not that big of a differential in kills, especially
For
considering how smooth that last cap was coming out from the Oxygen Supremacy side. So just a very smooth game from OS overall, but definitely, again, some flag caps that could have went in from the side of Wise Gaming. They could have potentially closed that one out. I can't imagine what would have happened if they would have opened up the game with back-to-back caps, which they were very close to doing. So now we move again into Rig Strongholds. Coming in from the blue side again is going to be Wise Gaming. Curious to see how these opening strategies are going to be, Dave, because we've seen some really good starts overall from Wise Gaming.
Absolutely. Every single game so far, it feels like they've been doing their homework. We've seen the times like on Plaza was probably the most impressive one, where we saw, I believe it was Ryan Noob and Contra, both ran up into double grenaded from Nebula and one other player to that initial start where Cloud was able to get instant sniper, they were able to rotate, and that kind of set the pace for the entire game.
It did, so we'll see, because Strongholds can really get out of control very quickly here, especially if you are getting triple capped on. We all know how bad you can snowball that one out of control, but Scattershot, I feel like, is going to be huge here. Railgun, it's, you know, fairly important, but I'm looking out for someone to be controlling that white corner, snipe hole kind of connector area and just laying down some serious doom. Even getting on over towards top tower side or top rail, whatever you want to call it, T2, T1, whatever. That's a great spot to be with the scatter shot as well. Kind of just patrolling back and forth between basement, and then you put it on respawn, Dave. You get it 20 seconds later. You can do some serious things with that.
Yeah, but as you said, I think that White Hall area is probably one of the strongest points to have because you can use it in both situations, whether you're trying to push back outside and take control of nest and or basement, or if you want to spawn trap other players in the bunker and actually have extra pressure, hold those double caps longer or push in for a trip cap.
Cloud picks up the scatter shot. He finds a kill but gets traded out. So now it's a 2-on-2 situation over here. Nebula is going to get weak. So all of the players right now fighting are fairly weak. Ryan coming in with the cleanup. This is where communication really going to pay some dividends. Demon D fighting Contra right on over towards that Whitehall area. Great grenade right there flying in. You are going to see Ryan has the scatter shot. Demon D finds that railgun, but he gets immediately scattered. And now Ryan is going to pick up both of the power weapons over here. They destroyed, going for a volcano swim.
Not worth it.
Not worth it at all. But you're going to see eventually possibly a triple cap coming in here. No one's contesting on over towards that BR base. They currently have the nest. Cloud going to rotate on over towards the nest, but destroyed in that 1v1. Great shots from Cloud. That is big because this could have got very ugly quick right there. Now they're going to have to rotate on over towards the basement. 2 players rotating on over towards the barrel side. Very important for Cloud to get on over there. Needs to just leave this area and help secure this basement area. Controlling the carbine's pretty big, but he's not in good positions to help. Now Destroy going to fly in, going to make it fairly easy for him to get an angle. Contra's no shields back here. Let's see if Cloud is aware of that. It is. So nice call coming in from his teammate. Contra going to miss the melee, but a nice rotation, Dave, going on over towards the nest for Nemesis.
Yeah, great rotation, and Cloudy Cloud and Wise Gaming aren't in as bad of a position right now because of that individual fight we saw earlier. One thing I want to point out is I feel like that's the second or third time we've seen Cloud win a pretty clutch 1v1 against Destroyed. One thing that I think kind of goes unnoticed in Halo is sometimes individual players have these individual matchups where players shine. Did you have a player back in the day where anytime you got in that 1v1 with them, you're like, all right, I got this fight. Don't you guys worry. No, no help needed over here.
Yeah, it varied, but you know, one of his initials is DW. I don't know if you know who that guy is, but no, but it varied from Halo to Halo, definitely, and I agree. It's just but as important it is for individuals to think that way, it's important for the entire team to think that way about the entire other team, not like individually. You have to have that mindset where it's like, all right, guys, we're coming in here, we're facing this team, we got to feel good about this. And obviously, you gain confidence through a series of events that you have to do, but either way, again, that's why I felt like if Auction Supremacy loses that to Wise Gaming and they lose the series 3-0, we're looking at a completely different outcome of potentially, you know, the rest of today, and then maybe even at the actual tournament in Atlanta. That's how much confidence you can gain just from winning this if you're Wise Gaming.
Yeah, just realizing how well your team can play under pressure when money is on the line. It's that huge confidence boost, like you said. You never want people to be second-guessing themselves. As I was making that joke earlier, you also don't want players feeling like they have to individually win all their fights or have to like do these miraculous plays in order to win. You want to be in the mindset that, all right, as long as I'm placing shots on players and I'm staying alive, I'm going to get help. I don't have to challenge every single individual fight.
Uh-oh, right now you can see that Wise Gaming is on the ropes, 3 dead. Last guy alive going over to capture BR base, but that gets reset. Multiple players flying in over there. They're going to capture Nest as well, so the triple cap is in effect, Dave. I think we're going to a game number 5. I know it's fairly early to call this one, but you could just see the way that these guys were rotating. I mean, I love the fact that they captured BR base. They left the nest area open, but they still had one guy contesting. They go and take basement, and then they rotate right back on over towards BR. So just great job being aware and taking what is being given to them from the enemy team. Now they have to get Nest right now. If you are Wise Gaming, you've got to watch that overpass area. You got to control this white hall. Someone's got to come in here and get
like
a big
this push.
1v1. Great push coming in. Destroyed is going to drop. Multiple players on over towards that back wall area. 2 going to drop now. 3 going to drop. Contra the last guy alive. Scattershot and Camo's going to be possibly an option here for Wise Gaming. There's the last guy alive right there. Boom, there it is. Nice job. Wise Gaming gaining some control now.
Yeah, but at this point, when you're down by so much, you have to at some point go for that trip cap. You have to get greedy. You don't want to try to hold this for 60 points straight, just a 2-point cap. So we're going to have to see when Wise decides to try to get greedy and make that push. One thing that I've also noticed when we're watching some of these games with Auction Supremacy is when they get a good start, they're usually able to close it out. So we're going to have to see if they start to falter here in this situation. Can Wise rattle Auction Supremacy, close out the series 3-1, even though Auction Supremacy had such a strong start here in game number 4?
Great job by Nebula, but it's not going to matter because now you're going to have Ryanoob in the basement, but a great job contesting by the spawners and Cloud. Now they're going to have to rotate on over towards the nest. Zoxic going to find a kill onto Nemesis. There is a player capping that. Oh, another player is going to spawn it over towards the Carbine. That could really mess these guys up. They were probably not expecting that. Doesn't matter, though. They're going to answer it right back. Ryanoob is going to drop now. Cloud, the last guy alive. That guy was fairly weak. However, a teammate is shooting him in the side, and no. Great job by Auction Supremacy to get that Nest Stronghold under control. And now we're going to see them potentially close this game out. Dave, you're right. They had to push for the triple cap, but they didn't have any type of advantages in terms of the numbers or power weapons or even map positioning. Another rotation came out from Auction Supremacy.
And look at how Auction are playing this one. They're playing defensive. They're letting Wise make some sort of push over towards Nest or BR base, and then they can decide where they want to go from there, if they want to defend or if they want to counter and go over towards basement. Looks like they're going to do both as they get those couple kills in Nest. I believe it's Contra who captured basement, and now Auction Supremacy going for the trip cap.
Yeah, and Contra also picked up a series of kills there. Now it's going to be a Nest trade for a BR trade. And no, BR is currently being contested. There goes the kill, and there goes BR base eventually being captured. But Destroyed has the railgun right now. He's going to pick up a handful of kills. That's going to be, I think, a double or triple kill for him. And now Camo eventually going to go in the hands of Ryanoob. He's timing that one perfectly. It's going to be the last camo of the game because you could tell Auction Supremacy is on the verge of closing this one out and going to a game number 5, which is Coliseum Slayer.
Yeah, Coliseum Slayer, which I'm not sure if it actually favors Wise Gaming or not, but I feel like it's a favorable game type because it's one that has a sniper on it. We saw how well Tizoxic and friends were playing on that last game on Plaza Slayer when it came to sniping. So, yeah, I feel like this is a good game 5, I would say, as far as map goes for them. However, at the same time, they did just lose 2 games in a row, and Oxygen Supremacy have caught their stride.
Taking a look at the stats, you could see outslayed this time around. 100-31 overall was the score. Great game coming out from Destroyed. 17-8 overall. So Oxygen Supremacy, they gain the momentum now after winning 2 games in a row. If you are on the side of Wise Gaming, you got to reset here. Realize that you guys have played this equally as tough as Oxygen Supremacy has, and now it comes down to virtually a best of 1. I mean, the way that I see it is you could throw everything out of the window. They just started up some matchmaking, and boom, they matched up against each other on Coliseum Slayer. And the winner is going to be not guaranteed $2,500, but they are going to set themselves up very close to being able to win that, because keep in mind, whoever wins this, they go to the grand finals, and then they are in a position where they have to lose twice. So 2 best of 7s have to be won by the team coming out of the lower bracket. Very rarely does it happen. We've seen it happen before, but whoever wins this most likely going to position themselves as the Legendary Cup winners.
Yeah, and what a huge accomplishment this would be for Wise Gaming if they're able to take this series and set themselves up, like you said, for the finals. And also how devastating it would be for Oxygen Supremacy to do so strong the last few Legendary Cups and then come to the one where all the money is on the line, where you have a couple weeks up until DreamHack Atlanta, and to fall just short. That would be absolutely devastating for their confidence, and I'm not sure how they would rebound from something like that.
Yeah, you're starting to see some teams really contest them. They lost a scrim to Era, who's, I'd say, I would have said before today started, they have a number 2 contender coming in, but they got a hot 3-0 from Oxygen Supremacy early on in the day. The games weren't even really close in my book, but here it is, Coliseum Slayer, game number 5 in the Legendary Cup. We're on board with Contra, who likes to make his way on over towards the Rockets. It looks like he's going to face Nebula. Gets shot a couple of times by players making their way on over towards the snipe side. Cloud going to find one and destroyed. Ryanoob has no shields as well. Nemesis has no shields too, so this is a good opportunity to get some numbers. That's 3 dead eventually. Nebula is going to grab the rockets, but as soon as he does, Contra flies in with the perfect. Stays alive. Destroyed going to get a kill as well. That was the guy that was chasing down Contra, so a great job by him. Now we're all tied up. Sniper in the hands of Tizoxic. Looks like he's over in the red cave, so this is a huge flank. Oh my gosh. What a flank by Tizoxic. Is he going to find the triple kill? That is the 3rd triple kill that Dave has missed from Tizoxic. What a play.
Yeah, 3rd from Tizoxic, but 4th overall if we're kind of counting them, all of them. So just so you guys know, we've missed a few good plays. But
that was a great play by Tizoxic.
It was also one of those I wouldn't say questionable ones. It's also one of those ones that just played out so well for Tiz, where it could be one of those most dangerous situations where a player rotated in from the other direction around from cave side. He could have easily gotten shot in the back to start off that entire play, but most times players are taking shortcuts around these areas when they don't know if players are there or not.
Ryan flying around with the sniper rifle, trying to stay alive, and he is somehow. Contra going to get a double kill. Wow, so that's going to be a huge assassination coming in from Ryan. Tizoxic going to lose that sniper rifle. Rockets in the hands of Contra now as well. Big swing in the game right there. Some plays being made from both teams. Ryanoob especially there towards the tail end of it. We also saw some sick stuff coming in from Tizoxic. Who else is going to step it up here? Contra has been picking up some kills on the kill feed. He's going to get dropped eventually by Demon D, but now you're going to see control in the hands of Ryanoob and Oxygen Supremacy. Sniper rifle over towards the catwalk area. He's just going to control this pyramid. Yeah, and just watch that rockets. Exactly. It's a perfect play coming in from Ryanoob. Now he's going to watch the red side spawners trying to make their way on over towards the snipe side. Picking off another player. Has a triple kill lined up over towards the elbow.
Come on, give me one. I want to make it up so I can at least say I'm like 1 for 5 or 1 for 6.
Almost. But right now you are seeing a great display of Halo coming out from Ryanoob especially. Eventually gets back whacked there by Tizoxic, but he started off that whole spree with a back whack on Tizoxic originally. So that was about 6 or 7 kills there. Nice trade coming in. You're going to have to get the weapons, though. You're going to have to pick up this sniper rifle, drop it in 20 seconds. You're going to have to pick the rocket guy off, who's obviously getting some kills right there, one on the Cloud. But this could get ugly here. The momentum heavily in the hands of Oxygen Supremacy.
Yeah, and one thing that's really tough, too, is when that player does have rockets, you don't want to be giving them free, easy kills. You want to make them have to work to use those rockets. Make sure they have to use usually 2 rockets per kill or something like that so that they only get splash damage. They don't just get that one-hit kill. But feels like all these members of Wise are just kind of running around, and we're seeing players like Nemesis just get like 1 rocket kills. And look at this now, a 13-kill lead because of that.
Yeah, and it all comes down to that play that was made on over towards the elbow. Keep in mind, Dave, the score I think was 9-9 at the time that backward was taken.
Yeah, it went over to 10-10 at some point. So yeah, it was tied in that early mark. Yep. And like you said, 5 kills in Wise Gaming's hands, and that is a 17 kills going straight towards Oxygen Supremacy over those last couple minutes.
All right, well, we're going to see what both of these teams are made of here. I want to see if Wise Gaming can keep it together here and realize that this is a game of swings. That back whack is just how the game has been going. Probably not even be able to clean up that kill, but no, he is. Contra eventually going to drop, but that's going to be Cloud's shields dropping, getting hit with another grenade as well. Nemesis picks up the rockets. Ryanoob going to drop on over to Nebula, but I'd like to see if Wise Gaming could get this together, because if they can get the weapons, it's not over for them quite yet.
No, it's definitely not over yet, but at some point it starts to get scary when the other team gets in like that 40 kill range, because once they're up at that 40 mark, you can't start to make those Wise trades. Like in a certain case right now, if you saw 2 members of Wise drop, yet they killed all 4 members of Oxygen Supremacy, that's okay to trade at this point. However, when it gets to like that 40 kill mark, you have to be so passive with each death that at some point it just feels like it's futile. You start to realize, all right, we can't give up really any deaths. We just have to somehow kill 3 or 4 in this push.
Ryanoob is making D&D waste some rockets here, but he does get called out. Nebula is going to find that cleanup. We don't have 2 rockets left here for D&D, so decent opportunity to put something on the board. That's going to be a pretty fortunate spawn there for Ryanoob. Turns the corner and is in that awkward rocket range where he wants to shoot it, but he can't because he knows that he's not going to be able to pick up the kill. At least was able to escape with his life.
And he was just hoping for a slight mistake from Ryanoob.
Those are two wasted rockets both on Ryanoob.
Yep. He may have just jumped up or something like that, got caught on that platform or something, but look at how passive this is right here.
I actually like this play. The way that this, now look, you have this guy creeping around the corner here. But there it is, there's the rocket flying in there. Doesn't even take any damage either, but in a game like this where the pace has been really fast and you haven't been able to win, you're not able to get anything going, why not slow it down? Why not just, get a sniper rifle maybe in the cave, get rockets set up on over towards the elbow, get a couple picks, then try to rotate the spawns, and then you can change the pace of the game after that. So I really like that call by whoever that was to change the way things were going in this one. You do see a trade coming back and forth every time that Wise Gaming picks up a kill. Oxygen Supremacy there to answer right back. So like you said, Dave, getting to that mark where right around 40 kills, things get scary. It's Oxygen on a killing spree, and still they haven't been able to change this deficit.
Yeah, this is the most pivotal moment for Wise Gaming right here, because not only does it go to that 40 kill mark, but also both these weapons coming up at the 6-minute mark. So they need to not only stay out of that 40 kill mark and get a few kills, but they need to get control of these weapons. Looks like they were able to get control of rockets. However, Ryanoob has sniper over at Blue Cave. D&D was taken down. He was the one holding rockets. His teammate was able to grab them up, but at the same time, they are now down by 9 kills.
They
and
were
the game just
stuck there,
slow
Dave.
down.
Imagine if the rocket guy flew in right there. That could have been something special for Wise Gaming, but I don't know. The way that this one's been going, unless the rocket guy, who is Nebula right now, is able to find Ryanoob, and they're able to get some kills here without trading 1 or 2 kills on their own, I just don't see it happening right now. Again, every time that they pick up a kill on the Wise Gaming side, you see it answered right back. So there's 2 kills going on over. It's important for them to find this other guy that's overextended, pick that guy off, and then find the sniper rifle guy over on towards the elbow. You see Ryanoob notices his teammates spawn up on the red side, so now he kind of rotates, hides his back on over towards that blue elbow side, but it doesn't matter. Toxic with a taste of his own medicine there. He needs to land this no-scope though, and it doesn't matter. Contra gonna come in with the cleanup. 5 more kills here. Oxygen Supremacy on the verge of closing this one out. Some wasted snipe ammo coming in from Contra.
which is okay in some senses at this point.
No, Dave, it's not
Oxygen
okay.
Supremacy, they only need 5 kills. And I've always been a proponent when you are in a situation where you're up by a significant margin, like 10 or more kills, the major way that the opposing team is going to get in control is with power weapons. So anytime you can kind of limit those, it's one of those things where it's like, all right, even you clearly don't want to jump the sniper off the map when you're not being pressured or anything like that, but wasting a clip of ammo is actually a viable strategy. Not that that was his plan. He just missed the shots.
Yeah, I mean, way to break that one down, Dave. 50 to 38 overall, but I agree with what you're saying. That is the only way that they could have potentially came back, but it was just a great play in the beginning by Ryan to get that sniper rifle out of Tzoxic's hands. Tzoxic, he was taking some ballsy routes overall, but just didn't have enough teammates around him or just not enough communication on where to bring that sniper rifle. And then they fall by 12 kills. Looking at the stats, 14 and 7 from Contra. You also had Nemesis sitting at the top, I think 15 and 11. So great series from Oxygen Supremacy. They complete the reverse sweep, and now they move into the grand finals. Meanwhile, Wise Gaming, they're going to fall down to the lower bracket. Curious to see who they're going to end up facing off against. I think that if I had to put my money on it, most likely Era. But again, Era did get 3-0'd from Oxygen Supremacy earlier, so not sure if they were able to bounce back from that and continue playing on from that lower bracket area. But Dave, what do you think of that series? Some pretty entertaining stuff, huh?
Yeah, I mean, we saw Oxygen Supremacy wake up towards the end of that series. Even, obviously, we saw them outslaying in game number 5, but the thing that was most notable to me was the amount of assists. I think we saw 38 assists from Oxygen Supremacy to 21 assists for Wise Gaming in that game number 5. So a reverse sweep from Oxygen Supremacy, them answering the call, showing that when they're put up against the ropes, they can answer, they can fight their way out, and still win the series.
That's right, guys. So we're going to take a quick break.